We've seen a number of Hank's co-workers up at Strickland Propane, and though we've already covered several of them, what do we know about the rest?
Everybody listen up. Strickland is a family. I'm like the daddy, and the daddy ain't feeling so good. So it's up to you kids to become leaders. Make sure daddy's business don't get run into the ground. You work for me?
Yes, sir, Mr. Strickland.
I'm your daddy.
Hey folks, welcome to Squirrel Tactics. Don't forget to like, subscribe if you haven't already, and check out our Patreon. Oh, and since we have a new top tier patron, Angry Ferb, this one's for you.
Alright. Someone's insane. Look out, someone's insane.
I got my eye on you, nutcase.
Alright, now let's get to it. Okay, to get this out of the way, we're not going to be covering people who technically work for Strickland like Peggy. In Are You There, God? It's me, Margaret Hill.
You are hereby requisitioned 3 Strickland propane pens. These can never, ever leave the office. Sorry to be a spoil sport, but Donna ruined it for everyone.
No, hey Peggy, welcome aboard. You told her about the pens, right?
Yes, I am aware of the pen situation.
Luann and Bobby, as part of the Propaniacs.
We're the Propaniacs.
Maniac.
For sure. If you're sad, we've got the gas that is the cure. Propaniacs. Yeah.
Bobby also worked as a salesman at Strickland in The Miseducation of Bobby Hill.
Oh, are they? Joe Jack, what do you think about the non-chrome grills?
What, the Widowmakers?
No, I have all the safety information.
Thanks, but I'd rather not take any chances. I'll go with the chrome one.
Let's not forget that Joseph shadowed Hank for a week in Business is Picking Up.
The Char King Imperial is the Wagner Company's love letter to America.
She's pretty hot. Did you guys ever do anything?
Dale was able to finagle his way onto the Strickland softball team and take me out of the ball game due to having done some pest control there, hence having a check stub from him.
I've sprayed Strickland for termites. I have a pay stub. I'm on the team.
And Con worked for Strickland to design a grill of the future in Just Another Manic Con Day.
We call it the Commander in Beef. It's the Swiss Army knife of grills, but made by a country that's not afraid to fight a war.
Welcome to Strickland Propane.
Well, what do you say we get started, partner?
Next are the employees who have already been covered, like Enrique.
Believe to the team! Yeah! Hey, I believe, Hank, we'll win because our Lord Jesus Christ chose us to win!
Okay, Enrique.
Joe Jack.
When he comes back, I say we throw a blanket over his head and do what feels right.
Donna from accounting, both the first and second one.
First order of business. We need to add some new video to the site. So, who wants to get kicked in the ding-dong?
And Roger Buddha Sack.
Oh, please, Roger, you're just mad about those pictures.
No, my wife's mad about those pictures. I was 30 days sober.
Everyone stop fighting.
Plus former employees like Debbie Grund.
Debbie, you stay here. I need you to be my eyes and ears.
I'm his eyes and ears.
Yes, but your butt belongs to me.
Tammy Duvall.
Yeah, that bottom paper tray needs to be filled.
It's full.
Well, top it off.
And MF Fatherton.
This is the only man ever censured by the Texas Propane Association for lewdness and conduct unbecoming a propane salesman.
MF Fatherton. Fatherton Fuels.
Dang glad to meet you, MF.
The MF stands for...
My friend.
Who went on to found Strickland's competition, Fatherton Fuels.
Fatherton Fuels. When you want propane done right, come to Fatherton Fuels.
Also, Hank and Buck obviously deserve videos of their own, which they'll eventually get, so we're going to be glossing over them for the most part.
Let's celebrate! Who wants breakfast whiskey?
This also means I don't have to bust out the Buck Strickland Workmistress timeline. So, that's out of the way. Team Strickland, consisting of 5 locations, the main Arlen office, and 4 directional branches, north, south, east, and west. We see the heads of these branches in Snow Job, but the only one we know anything about is Lloyd Vickers, voiced by David Herman, who is apparently a Bills fan. He has a business degree, and he's the one that Buck puts in charge of everything when he's in the hospital after a heart attack.
Vickers, you run the company. whole shebang. Let's see what that fancy business degree of yours is worth.
You betcha.
You're putting him in charge?
Vickers shakes things up by instituting changes to the business. We earlier saw him trying to talk to Buck about changes he wanted to make at the Strickland barbecue.
And I think you'll also find that now is the exact right moment for my total quality management proposal.
Oh, for God's sake.
These included raising prices due to increased usage and shortened supply, as well as installing Tattler boxes in the company trucks that kept track of when the vehicles were stopping.
It's designed to prevent goof-offs, lunch breaks, unscheduled stops. All the things the drivers' union fought so hard for.
You know, it's odd that Hank has this stance here, seeing as he's always portrayed as being staunchly anti-union. Lest we not forget this from the company man.
Something's wrong. Yeah, it's the darn unions. Come on, boys, finish up them little Debbies and get back to work.
So for Hank to say something pro-union is, that's kind of strange. And it really bothers Hank when he finds out that Buck had signed off on all the changes, claiming that the point of a business is to make as much money as possible, which is true, and Buck even defends the Tattler boxes.
Well, sure, I've been using Tattlers off and on for years. Hell, back in the old days, we used midgets. Stuck them behind the seats with a bucket of ice to keep them cool. That's till OSHA came in and put them poor little people on the street. That's what they like to be called, Hank, little people.
Vickers ends up getting fired after the drivers quit because they want the Tattler boxes gone, and he let them walk out. Which I really don't get why Buck is so mad here. Everything that Vickers did, including what the drivers quit over, was done with Buck's knowledge and blessing. I mean, what did he expect Vickers to do here? Just back down? Don't get me wrong, I am not a fan of Vickers. He had a terrible management style. He talked down to his employees. I mean, really, he was a textbook example of someone who graduated from college with a business degree, but had no actual real-world experience and didn't know how to implement the ideas he had gotten in school, and yeah, he was just a terrible choice to promote. But Buck allowed all of this to happen, and honestly, it's Buck's fault that all this did happen, but he fires Vickers anyway.
It's all right, sir. I can get to yes. I'll hire a new batch of drivers right away.
You listen to me, God dang it, it's the goddamn height of the season. There's no drivers from here to god dang city. You're fired!
Speaking of folks that got fired, Leon Petard, voiced by Brent Forrester, who appeared in Junkie Business. He was hired as an accessories associate, pretty much getting the job because he made a positive remark about a Dallas Cowboys calendar. And when asked his opinion on propane, Leon had this to say.
Well, sir, phew, I probably shouldn't say this because it sounds kind of crazy. But after God, country, and family, what I love most is propane and propane paraphernalia.
Okay, Leon came in, complimented the Cowboys, said all the right things about propane and propane paraphernalia. He's got a go-getter attitude, seems willing to learn. Yep, this Leon guy is certainly going to work out.
What in the Sam Hill?
Oh, no.
This is your new accessories associate? Jeez, Hank, he's a drooling nincompoop.
Don't worry, sir. He's as good as gone.
Except no, he didn't work out, because of course he didn't work out. He showed up 3 hours late on his first day. He made up some story about showing up early and having to take a lady from the coffee shop's dog to the vet or something or other. It's a nice little detail to include Leon doing the classic tweaker blind check while weaving his web of lies here.
But here I am with a customer's dog and I just can't leave her. So I promise I'll never come to work early again.
But yeah, after Leon's drooling fit, he's fired by Hank. Though Leon is smart enough to file a complaint with the Texas Workforce Commission, who come in and force Strickland to comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act, which states that Leon is technically disabled and can't be fired.
It's the law, and we win.
Woo!
This leads to many staff members taking advantage of the law, including Jason Adderley, voiced by Jim Dotrieve, a longtime writer on the show who actually wrote Junkie Business, and yes, he's where Bill's last name came from. Jason, however, has an interesting condition that stopped him from working.
Sorry, Hank. I suffer from obsessive-compulsive disorder. If I get out of this chair, Garth Brooks is gonna die.
And yeah, he is the father of Howard Adderley, who we saw from back when Hank was playing poker at Jason's place.
If you don't watch it, you're gonna end up like Jason Adderley's boy. Deal me out this hand, Jason. I'm about to bust. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this was the bathroom. Oh, good Lord.
Fun fact, we see Jason in the background not just at Strickland, but also at the cigarenders meeting for people who are trying to stop smoking and keeping up with our Joneses.
It's not easy to admit we're weak.
You're calling me weak? Look at your little birdie arms. They're no thicker than a cigarette. I could smoke them little arms.
Also in junkie business, we have a mention of Hector, who appears in the background in several episodes, though he never actually speaks. He also apparently refused to wear the antlers for Strickland's Christmas photo one year.
Hector wouldn't wear the antlers 5 years ago, and his sales have never recovered.
And we hear him referenced in Rodeo Days.
Well, when you find out, I'll put in for the Strickland luxury box. Hector's got the afternoons reserved, but if I send him to McMainerberry in the old truck, what's he going to do about it?
Plus, he has a condition with an eye for Debbie.
She shushed me.
Debbie's got the yuppie flu, and Hector claims he has something called priapism. He wants a roomier workstation and a view of Debbie.
Anywho, Buck fires Leon after Hank quits, and they hire on who Hank should have hired in the first place, Maria Montalvo, who promptly sexually harasses Hank. I mean, the man barely has anything down there, like it's a medical condition. And she still gets herself a handful of Hank, though we do get ourselves a fan favorite line.
I am so happy to be working with you, Hank.
Peggy's in the parking lot. She looks disgruntled.
Maria Montalvo, voiced by Bertilla Damas, who I learned while making this video was actually in Nothing But Trouble. If you've never seen it, I recommend it. It's not a great movie, but it includes a roller coaster known as the Bone Crusher and an appearance by Digital Underground. Yes, that's a young Tupac Shakur.
Hey, hey, ho, ha, ho! Hula, 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 the bula, bula, bula. Look who's got the front seats of the Mexican hat dance now. Just like a bunch of spiders in a birthday cake.
Anywho, as I said, she should have been hired at the beginning of junkie business. She was knowledgeable of the products, she had a good head on her shoulders, and her only fumble was not being a football fan. Well, that and Hank's preconceived bias.
Ms. Montalvo, you're at the Troy Aikman Fantasy Sports Camp. It's the toughest 14 days you'll ever love, and on the bus ride home...
Excuse me. Who's Troy Aikman?
We also learn a lot from her resume here, including her address on Longhorn Street, her previous work history, all of which is propane related, as well as her studying business at West Texas College of Business and Industry, which is not real, by the way, nor is her high school alma mater, Roger Staubach High School, which is not to be confused with Arlen's Roger Staubach Elementary School.
Staubach Elementary School, building the next generation of Arlen leaders today.
Maria would end up sticking around until the end of the series, becoming a regular in the background and integrating into the fold as one of the guys like Roger did. We see her giving Hank a hard time alongside the other co-workers in Death of a Propane Salesman.
Hank, look out, it's gonna blow.
Very funny.
Hey, Hank, you got a light?
That's a real good one for the 15th time.
Help, honey. My arm's been blown off by propane.
Ha ha, Joe Jack.
Seriously, baby. Thanks for blowing up the Megalomart.
I didn't blow it up.
Yeah, she tends to hang around Enrique. Same with her appearance in Lost in MySpace.
There's no way that's your body. You cut and pasted your face. This woman has six-pack abs.
Count these.
Wow, look at Melinda's stomach. It's amazing.
Melinda, no. Pull down your shirt.
And that lady with the washboard abs who made Hank rather uncomfortable, well, that's Melinda Grab, originally voiced by Brittany Murphy, except in the last season where she was voiced by Marissa Winokur. She first appeared way back at Hank's Dirty Laundry, where she helped him look up the issue with his credit report.
Thanks for trying, Melinda, but I'm pretty sure you can't just look up my credit unless I send some kind of permission letter to my credit bureau.
Nah, it's a piece of cake. All you need is a $10 processing fee.
I'll just deduct that from your paycheck.
She's one of the workers who takes advantage of the ADA and junkie business.
Melinda, a little help, please?
Ugh, too bloated.
We know from Donna's MySpace page that she hooked up with Donna, but apparently was too drunk to remember much about it.
Well, someone's got to know where she lives. I mean, she had that contest, you know, the sleeping over.
No, hell, I don't remember.
I was trashed.
Don't, honey.
She was present when Buck tried to give away Strickland to one of his employees because he'd been caught dumping old propane tanks in the Cottonwood River in Earthy Girls Are Easy, and you gotta love Buck trying to explain his way out of it to his own people.
I was trying to create a coral reef for all the dolphins and whatnot.
In a river?
Everyone's gonna hate us. People hate people who hate the environment.
If we don't have an environment, where will we do stuff? Think about it.
Plus, she was mistaken for Donna by an injured Hank in Hank's back.
Joe Jack, get those tanks polished. Donna, where are those POs I asked for?
I'm Melinda.
Oh, sorry, the new shoes threw me.
Maybe you should just go home.
What are you talking about? Brown shoes? I'm fine.
By the way, Brown Shoes there actually does have a name. It's DC. We know his name from the Strickland MySpace page. And he shows up in quite a few episodes as a background employee. As does another employee we know the name of from the MySpace page, Stu, who, yeah, he looks like a Joe Jack variant. And Tom, who not only appears quite a bit in the background, but he also changes skin tone several times from pale to darker. Sometimes he looks white, other times he looks Hispanic, but he's always got that long face. Which brings us to this guy, Travis, voiced by Phil Lamar, who apparently enjoyed whistling. And we see him retire at the beginning of That's What She Said. It should be noted that this is where we learned that Strickland Propane has been around for at least 40 years.
May you have as many sick days in retirement as you had in your 40 years working at Strickland Propane, which is 3.
Speech!
Yeah! Travis gives, I guess you could call it a farewell address of sorts, where he laments the passage of time and how he had grander plans for his life, and yet here he is retiring from a propane dealership after 40 years. But hey, you know, at least he got cake. It's a vanilla sheet cake. Would be cooler if he got a big old hunk of Cabot cheese, because that's how you really celebrate 40 years. Not just with cheese, but with damn good cheese. And Cabot, well, now that's some damn good cheese.
This was just supposed to be a 2-week gig until I got my pilot's license. But I guess like so many other dreams, time has a way of slipping through your fingers and...
Good job there, Travis. That was a travesty. But out with the old and in with the new, and to replace Travis, they hired Rich, voiced by Ben Stiller, who came to Strickland by way of Taco Bueno. And to say that there are a few differences between how Travis and Rich dealt with work would be an understatement. We see an early example when Rich makes an off-color joke while eating lunch.
Oh, I love that place. They got a couple of waitresses I wouldn't kick out of bed for eating lasagna, if you get what I'm saying.
Clearly, Hank's not a fan, though everyone else seems to go along with it, cautiously at first, but they still go along with it, and eventually get on board as they start making the same types of jokes as they get more used to them. Seeing as Strickland is typically rather straight-laced due to Hank, and in spite of Buck.
Hey, Rich, you get those meat thermometers put away?
Yeah, except for the one I got right here.
You stole a meat thermometer?
The issue with Rich arises when he starts making the jokes towards Hank, who has no comprehension that Rich is even joking. I mean, it's Hank. He may laugh at Tony Danza.
Well, I've got a sense of humor. I laugh at Tony Danza. Of course, if you aren't joking, I feel bad and I apologize. I laugh at Tony Danza.
I laugh at Tony Danza. I laugh at Tony Danza.
All right, that's it.
But he ain't exactly got the best sense of humor.
I need an 8-inch L-pipe.
That's what she said.
Oh, did their hostess call too?
Now, Rich's humor probably worked just fine with younger co-workers in a more laid-back environment, such as Taco Bell. I'm not throwing shade or whatever you kids say these days. It's just typically in fast food, you're going to work with younger people and it's not normally as rigid of an environment. Also, I'm just going to say it, beef quesadilla doesn't mean taco meat Taco Bueno. Anywho, Rich tries his luck and makes a joke in front of Buck, which, hey, that rhymes. Also, it works out well for him, seeing as Buck loves the joke.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate you getting behind me.
That's what she said.
Get behind me!
And pretty soon the workplace changes, with Joe Jack fake peeing on a truck, a fart machine being put in a bathroom stall, neither of which amuses Hank in the slightest.
Not funny, and a waste of a perfectly good 9-volt battery. How do the Chinese let themselves get talked into making these things?
Rich comes up with nicknames for Joe Jack and Enrique like Low Crack and Enrique, and worst of all, Buck ends up taking Rich golfing instead of Hank, and in Hank's world, that's just something you do not do. Up to this point, Rich has been annoying, to me at least, but not too terrible. However, that changes when he introduces a little game called Ass Tag, which, yeah, no, that's not a game you want to play in the workplace. Also, yeah, kind of weird that he doctored Enrique's wedding photo so that it looked like he married a monkey, so yeah. Over time, people start to get tired of Rich. I mean, not wanting to be groped by a full-grown man who's eyeing you like a gazelle on the plains of the Serengeti is totally reasonable. I had a kid try that years ago at a job. I stabbed him with a pen. That's not a joke. He had that coming. Hank finally has enough when Rich decides it's a good idea to grab a handful of Hank. Again, for a guy with a medically small rear end, it sure gets groped a lot. So Hank goes the old school route of punishment, one which I remember rather well.
Come on, Hank, let go. Mr. Strickland isn't gonna like this. Oh, gonna brush your teeth before you kiss me? Well, still not interested.
No, Rich, you've got a potty mouth, and I'm gonna wash it out with soap.
What? No! Oh, come on, guys, give me a hand.
Ever had your mouth washed out with lava soap? Hands don't get that dirty, apparently mouths do. That's fun stuff right there. Buck puts a stop to things, but when Hank hits him with an ultimatum of it's either Hank or Rich, yeah, that's a no-brainer. Buck picks Hank in a heartbeat, and that's the last we see of Rich, or of his sense of humor at Strickland Propane.
And it's got a nice big rack for your buns.
Or wieners.
Or wieners, why not?
Feels good to say wieners again.
Or sausage.
And yeah, I think that's everybody. And okay, yeah, technically Miss Liz was also a Strickland employee.
Oh, sorry, Bobby, I was making a hot toddy before you showed up. You want hot toddy? Hot toddy will calm your nerves.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Miss Liz! 2 hot toddies!
But if I forgot anybody else, let me know in the comments. I know I don't have to say that, it's gonna happen anyway, but still, I appreciate you watching. We'll see you next time, folks.
This is the Hill residence. Please leave a message at the beep.
Hey, get your old buddy Buck Strickland. That Vickers mucked things up worse than Jack Kennedy at Piggy Bay, so I got no drivers. I got no right-hand man. I need you, old top. I need you bad.